Hello and welcome. Making your partner desire you in a relationship while showing your boundaries. It's interesting. I've been wanting to cover this for a while because I believe that boundaries and sex and desire, not that this is all going to be all about sex. I haven't talked about sex in a while on my YouTube channel. And I really miss the fact that I haven't talked about sex on my YouTube channel in a while. But having better sex in a relationship, I believe, starts with having really good boundaries. And I think we often confuse sex with just chemistry. And while for men, a man can look at a woman and go, wow, she's really sexy. I really desire her. So yeah, I just want to have sex with her. But women, on the other hand, it's very different because I've talked about it like respect in a relationship, right? Like if a woman doesn't respect a man, she can't build that desire for him because there's just no respect there. But if she respects her man, then she desires her man. So we're going to talk about boundaries, how to make your relationship better, but while showing your boundaries. So making your partner desire you in a relationship while showing your boundaries. I think this is a really juicy topic. I'm really glad you guys are here. Thank you for being here. I love doing these lives because it's my way of getting to connect with you guys, which is really wonderful. I actually get really excited to do these. I was just thinking about it this morning and I was like, I really can't wait to do this live. And if you are new here, we are going to talk about boundaries, and that's something that I do talk about a lot on this channel. So if that's been an issue for you, then you want to make sure that you check out my new boundaries course. It's right there. It is going to revolutionize how you show up in your relationship so that whether you're single or in a relationship, that people start valuing you more. They start loving you more and are more attracted to you because you value yourself and you communicate that value through your boundaries. So if you show up and you feel like, I really don't feel like people value me in relationships, I get very scared when there's confrontation. I want to be more brave in my relationships. I want to stand up to toxicity. I want to be able to better express my desires and say what I want and quit just going along with what everybody else wants, but actually get what I want. Then make sure you get that boundaries course. It will change your life. So do you ever feel like in a relationship that, or even as a single person, that you're not as desirable? Like maybe you desire the other person, but maybe that desire isn't reciprocated. Maybe it doesn't go both ways. And you're like, I want mutual desire in my relationship. I want my partner to desire me the way I desire them. Or if you're a single person, because I know that my channel attracts a lot of singles. If you're a single person, you're like, yeah, I want the opposite sex to desire me more. So we're going to talk about how to build that desire with while showing your boundaries so that you don't feel unattracted, unworthy, undesirable, rejected. Okay. So I know in my own life, I used to struggle with this a lot. I struggled a lot with rejection. And oftentimes, those of us who have struggled with rejection, we typically think that the more we give to another person, that the more that they're going to like us, the more that they're going to be attracted to us. But it's actually just the opposite. The more that we give, the more that we try harder and harder and harder, and actually does the opposite. It pushes them away, it repels them. So I went from feeling like super rejected. And then all of a sudden, I kind of went through this Morpheus of thinking like, that's bullshit. Like I can have whoever I want. Like Why not? I'm charismatic, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm funny. Like, why shouldn't I have whoever I want? So going from rejected to like having that sense of like I am desirable and I feel like I can get whoever I want. We're going to talk about how I went through that process. So once again, we're talking about how to build desire in your relationship while showing your boundaries. So when you're building desire, it really does start off with respect. The person really does have to respect you. And so the thing is, it's when you are with someone who feels unworthy, they feel rejected, it feels low, like low energy to you. It makes you feel like, ew. That's the simplest reaction, right? Ew, like something doesn't feel right. This person feels heavy. Why doesn't this person like themselves? I mean, surely they know themselves better. So if they feel like something's wrong with them, something has to be wrong with them. So this is why it's really important to like do inner work, do healing. Because without it, it's like we constantly, I've seen really attractive people throughout my career in the 14 years that I've been helping people. I've seen very attractive people on the outside, but on the inside felt really unworthy, really low about themselves. And no matter what they did, they couldn't bring in like high vibe, high quality, high value people. So it broke down the attraction of the quality of the type of people that they were inviting in their life, unfortunately. So, when you're in a relationship and you are trying to build that desire with your partner, there's something about when your partner challenges you, that's actually really attractive. This is why, like, the whole notion of nice guys, and nice girls, why, like, people don't really, why they're not really attracted to them because the other person doesn't feel challenged. People of value, here's the thing, the way that they've become valuable is they've challenged themselves throughout their lives. And so when you get into a relationship and your partner does not challenge you, it's like, ugh, this just feels very stagnant. This just feels very like there's no movement going here. So a high value person knows like I've had to challenge myself, I've had to take risk, I've had to do a lot of things to build myself. But then when if they get in a relationship with someone who maybe they stop challenging them, they don't feel that polarity. They don't feel that resistance to change, to grow. And so the desire starts actually shrinking back, as interesting as that sounds. You even hear it in marriages. I've had married people share with me how over the years, their desire for their partner started going down. Why? Because the partner quit showing up and challenging them. And we challenge people with our boundaries, believe it or not. As we evolve, as our boundaries grow, it's going to ruffle feathers. I want you to say that. With my boundaries growing, I am going to ruffle feathers. It's just part of it. Anytime we grow in value, people get used to the old version of us. And so when that version of us evolves, it grows, then people go, who are you? I'm used to relating to that person. And when you're in a strong relationship with a strong partner, a high value partner, at first, even though they're of high value, they're going to feel that resistance. They're going to feel the change in you, and they're going to be like, what's going on with you? And you're like, well, I'm not really showing up this way anymore. And this is what I expect now. And this is what's grown inside of me. And so, yeah, I expect you to grow as well. And that partner may put up some resistance at first, but ultimately they're going to respect you. Why? Because you've presented them a new challenge to grow, to evolve, to become a higher version of themselves. So when you challenge them with your boundaries, they see it as first there's resistance, but then there's that invitation to grow. And here's the thing, we are drawn to things that give us more life. And so they will innately feel that as you're challenging them, that you are giving them more life. You're exposing them to more quality of being. And in essence, that actually turns them on. But when you start shrinking back from yourself, by shrinking back with your boundaries, by withholding your truth, by not saying the things that really matter to you, by not saying what things bother you, I see this a lot, especially like in conflict. Jordan Peterson gave a great example, and I think I quoted him on one of my sales pages for my boundaries program. He says that basically, when you don't confront something, it's just a delayed fight. Like it's just a bigger argument that you're delaying it for. I totally butchered that. I wish I had the quote in front of me. But in relationships, like, when our partner does something that we don't like, and he gave the example, if you're out to a couple's dinner and you feel like your partner is being flirtatious with the other person at dinner, and you go, that didn't feel good and I need to say something. He was like, guaranteed it's going to be a fight. Like it's going to be a problem when you confront your partner with it. No one's going to be like excited about being asked about being flirtatious with someone else. He said, it's going to be an issue for sure. And he was like, but in the end, like that's what actually builds the trust in your relationship. That's what builds the chemistry, so to speak, is being able to have a backbone and a voice to say these things. And so a lot of times in relationships, even as singles, people who are recovering nice guys and nice women, we think that by not rocking the boat, that our partner, the person, is going to be more attracted to us. They're going to desire us more, but it's actually wrong. Strong people innately want to be challenged. People of high value innately want to be challenged. And so you have to quit looking at challenging people as pushing them away. Instead, it's an invitation. It's extending your hand and giving them an opportunity to grow. That's really important, guys. And I want you to really pay attention to that. And I want to say that again. I want you to write this down. Don't look at confrontation. And when I say confrontation, I mean standing up for your boundaries, using your voice, expressing your desires, expressing your concerns, these sort of things. Don't look at confrontation as a pushing away. Instead, it's an extension. You're inviting a person and you're leading them into an opportunity to grow. Okay. That is essentially what you're doing. So here was my journey. I was always that girl in high school who really, 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 really wanted a boyfriend. I just felt like if I had had a boyfriend in high school, that would have made me like worthy. It would have like, that's what girls kind of get programmed with. It's like, oh, once a guy chooses you, like you're worthy, which is horseshit, because anyone can choose you and you can be in a relationship and still feel incredibly unworthy. And as you feel unworthy, you feel less desirable. So we're also going to talk about how boundaries with yourself makes you feel more desirable. And when you feel more desirable, your partner can feel that as well. So we're going to talk about that. So I felt like in high school, like if I just had a boyfriend, that would make me feel, more worthy on the inside. And so you know how it works, right? The more you push for something with desperation, with fear, when you come at something with that desperate energy, you actually push it away. I think I did a blog when I first started. It was called Bella Gab. It's no longer up, but it was essentially talking about how like we can be like a roach spray, like a repellent to people, and desperation, fear is the repellent. So I remember pushing guys away. Just I don't think I even had like a proper full on relationship in high school. I think I went on dates with guys. I think maybe that's not true. I had little boyfriends, like little relationships here and there, but I didn't have like an actual like very long-term relationship. But here's what I did, and here's what you can do too. What I learned to do, and this is great advice for single people. This is what I learned to do to build up myself, build up my boundaries, build up my voice, which essentially built up my sex appeal, my desire, how I felt about myself. Was this: I started standing up for myself, um, in many ways. So this is kind of funny. I guys like my funny story. So like I said, struggled with lots of rejection, struggled with lots of I felt very intimidated, very unworthy on the inside. So in high school, I started just standing up for myself. For example, there was, and any of my old high school classmates, they may remember this. There was this thing where for homecoming, the boys would be able to leave school hours, and go build a bonfire. And then the school would have this huge homecoming bonfire. And so the boys would get to leave school to do this. And now, honestly, I wasn't much of like a too much of a tomboy. I, didn't want to get my fingers dirty or any of that stuff. And I was, but there were other girls who, like, they were into that stuff. They wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, you know what? This is real bullshit. Like, why is it that these guys are excused to leave school to go build a bonfire, but girls aren't part of that process? And I remember going to he's passed away, but his name was Mr. Cleary. And I went to Mr. Cleary, and I said, this isn't right. Like, you guys should not be excluding women from this. That anyone who wants to participate in this should be allowed to participate. It should not only be men. And so maybe this is also why I didn't have boyfriends, because I was growing my big mouth at the time. And he said, no, Erica, girls cannot be a part of this. So I said, all right, I'm taking this to the school newspaper. So I went to the school's newspaper, and I went to the lady who was in charge of the department. Her name was Miss Flores. I remember her name. And I told her, I said, listen, I don't think this is right that he just allows boys to go and build this bonfire for homecoming. Like, if girls want to be a part of this experience, then they need to be allowed to be a part of this process. So I raised hell. And I wrote a huge article for the school paper. One of my classmates wrote a counter, he wrote a rebuttal to it, which now, if people read that, they'd be like, you can't say that. Like, he'd be in so much trouble over the things that he said. But I do remember he called women heifers and that. And I'm like, oh, you could not get away with that now. So guess what? I won. And women that year were allowed to be a part of the bonfire. And of course, the funny part is, Matt says, I had a Mr. Cleary in school too. Funny part is, I ended up getting on homecoming court that year. And so, homecoming court, you want to be pretty when you walk out on the field. And so I didn't want to get like dirty or scratched up or anything. So we went out to the site, and the boys were pissed. They were like, you made all this fuss about women getting out here and helping, and you're not even helping with the bonfire. And for me, it wasn't about that I wanted to be a part of it. It was the fact of excluding people. That wasn't okay. And so that was my journey in high school of like building myself, building my own self-worth by standing up for the things that mattered to me, by using my voice. The other thing that I did was for student council. I wanted to be a part of student council. And it was corresponding secretary. Everything was around writing. Like, I'm writing for the paper. I wanted to be corresponding secretary for the thing. And so I ended up like running against, I think it was like 4 guys. I'm like, what is this? Why is this always like me against men? Like, now I've helped men, I've helped women, but it was so funny. So I'm running against, I think it's like 3 or 4 other guys. And like, one of the guys was like super popular in the school. Another guy was really popular amongst his group. And so everyone had like their sense of popularity with everyone. And so I chose to not be afraid And I put a big sign on me, like a poster. I made a poster that said, "Vote for me." And I put a string around it and I wore it around my neck. And I would walk through the hallways, I kid you not, of my high school advertising, "Vote for me for corresponding secretary." In the middle of lunch, I would go from table to table, introduce myself and say, "Hi, my name is Erica. My maiden name is Harashubina Rakavina. Hi, I'm Erica Rakavina. I want you to vote for me for corresponding secretary." And literally went to table, and my friends were making fun of me. They were like, "Erica, this is too far. You've gone too far." And I won. I ended up winning. So I won both things. And so what did that teach me? It taught me confidence, but also it taught me how to stand up for myself with my boundaries and using my voice. And guess what? I believe that that is part of what has made me a very attractive person today. And so, why do I share these stories with you? Because it's taking actions like this. It's not backing away and shying away from who you really are, but showing up with all of your voice over the things that you desire, over the things that you want, over your dislikes. It's showing up and communicating that in a relationship as a single person. And when you're doing that, you are being your own advocate for your boundaries. It's like, this matters to me, and I get to teach the world how to treat me. I get to shape the world that I'm in. And the way that I do it is through my voice. I do it through accountability to myself by holding true and doing the things that really matter to me. But essentially, when our partner desires us in a relationship, or when you're single and the other person desires you, it's because you have chosen to stay true to yourself. And at the core of human beings, we find that hella sexy. We find it deeply sexy, a person who chooses themselves, who doesn't shy away from who they are and what they want and going after that. But the minute you start forfeiting that is when you quit being as desirable. So it's our boundaries that communicate how we value ourselves. Does this make sense to you guys? I feel like I've given like a lot of stories, but I just want to make sure that this is making sense to you guys. Also, really quickly, I do want to say I got inspired over the weekend. I've had some people come out and seeing me. If you're part of my email list, if you got my connection meditation, you got the first notice about this. They always get the first notifications about everything. You guys get the second, but you should be on that email list so that you get them. But I just announced today that I am now doing, I haven't done this in a really long time, but offered, oh, Matt, you got my email. He says, I'm packing my suitcase. I have not offered this in a very long time. I've been doing Zoom coaching for years, but I just opened up to private, and this is a really long form. Sorry about this. But I just opened up to private in-person coaching with me. It's a VIP coaching experience. It's not for everyone. And it's not cheap. So if you want to work with me in person, go fill out that application. I'm really, really excited about this. So here's the thing. This is why we stop becoming desirable, is because also it's like our boundaries with ourselves, like how we treat ourselves. This is why boundaries isn't just, I always say, boundaries is how you teach the world how to treat you. But it's also, boundaries first starts with you and how you choose to treat yourself. Like in the boundaries Bible that I made, I don't know if you guys have gotten that yet, but when you buy the boundaries course, there is a discount code where you can get my boundaries Bible that's full of scripts on what to say in every situation. But in a lot of that boundaries Bible, I also cover like how you talk to yourself, because boundaries is also you teaching you how you treat yourself. And so when you treat yourself better with value, when you hold yourself to the commitments and the things like today, I'm going on a hike after this with my boyfriend. We're going to go hike some mountains here in France. But if I woke up today, I'm like, I'm tired of just doing my runs along the sea. I know that sounds very like I'm a spoiled brat. I'm getting tired of running along the Mediterranean Sea. And now I need a hike. But it's true. I need that time. And I woke up with that feeling, right? Now, if I didn't do that and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I did this YouTube live and, I'm tired now. So now I'm just going to watch TV. If I were to choose to do that, that's not me honoring my boundary. And if I'm not honoring my boundary, I'm not valuing myself. And if I'm not valuing myself, then I'm not being very sexy. Does that that's as simple as I can break it down. If I don't honor my boundary with myself or even how I'm telling other people how to treat me with my boundary, if I'm not honoring my boundary, I'm not valuing myself. If I'm not valuing myself, I'm not sexy. It's that simple, but it's that process. That's why I shared the stories with you guys of high school, of how I went from feeling super rejected, super insecure, like really struggled with worthiness issues. And going from that to now what you see today, bold, confident, empowering people all over the world to transform their lives, reminding them that they are lovable, giving them the tools to connect with love. Like all of that came from a girl standing up for her boundaries in high school by going up and being an advocate and saying women should have the right to be a part of this bonfire experience. I want to be on this student council. Okay, there's a lot of popular guys that I'm up against. I don't care. I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. And it's by gaining that momentum and having those experiences, creating those wins, builds the confidence, but it also teaches you, like, when I stand up for my boundaries, when I stand up for my voice, when I stand up for the things that actually matter to me, that I feel powerful, that I feel good. And that the more I feel good about myself, the more strong I'm going to show up in the world. The more honest I'm going to show up with my partner. The more sincere I'm going to be with my partner, which makes me more desirable, which makes me more sexy. So let's break it down. Listening, I'm going to say it again. Yep, keep the promises you made to yourself. Very good, Thomas. When you honor your boundaries, you're communicating that you value yourself. When you value yourself, you become very desirable and very attractive. Which, once again, I'm just going to recap. I'm going to keep nailing this because I feel like so many people who have come to my channel have been nice guys, nice women. And the reason why these people fail in relationships, why their spouses leave them, cheat on them, why they can't get into a relationship, why they're always friend zone, is because nice people do not value themselves. They keep thinking that they are going to win in life by making everybody else happy, but they don't. People disrespect them, and they know that they're not winning by the disrespect that they see in their lives. So when your partner stops respecting you, it's because you've stopped respecting yourself. You've quit showing up for yourself. But let me tell you, the more that you show up for yourself by honoring your desires, going on the hike, like my example today, saying what bothers you, like Jordan Peter said, if that situation happens, it's uncomfortable at dinner and someone's flirting, confronting them and calling them out. It's like, yeah, they're not going to like it in the moment, but they're going to be really attracted to you because you're going to be sexy enough to stand up for yourself and not tolerate that, right? Or being very direct and saying, hey, I want us to be having more sex. Like, I'm not happy with our sex life. Let's come on, let's spice things up here. Or, you know what? I want you to say more loving things to me. I'm a words of affirmation person. I haven't been getting a lot of affirmation from you. I want to hear from you how sexy you think I am. It's like speaking up for your desires, speaking up for what you want. These are the things that communicate that you are desirable, you are attractive, because you're honoring yourself. The more you honor yourself, the more sexy you are. And the way that you practically honor yourself is through your boundaries. Does this make sense, you guys? Did you guys like those stories? It's kind of funny. Like, I'm sure some of you are like not very surprised about that, but I forget these stories. I've been listening to Meghan Markle's new podcast called Archetypes. And she was talking about how she stood up for herself with the dish soap thing, and where it was like women all over are saying, and she was like, whoa, 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 like when women's value isn't about like cleaning and doing dishes, and how she wrote a letter to Johnson and they ended up changing the ad. And I was listening to that thinking like, wow, I wish I had been that bold and courageous. And then I was like, wait a minute, I was like, I even remember fighting with a teacher in the 7th grade because he was pushing his politics on us kids in the 7th grade, Mr. Wilson. And my parents had different political views, which means me as a child in the 7th grade had their political views. So I was like, well, that's not fair. You're not giving both sides of the equation. You're just giving your side. But there's this whole other side, and I don't agree with your side because obviously I was my parents' kid and I believe whatever my parents told me to believe. And so I would fight my teacher and I would say, no, you just educated all of us on your side of politics. And I brought all these newspapers with my side of the politics, or my parents' side of the politics. And I was like, I want to have a voice in this classroom and I want to show the other side of politics. And I gave everyone a piece of paper of the candidate that my parents were supporting, and his what his views were, and what he was supporting, what he was fighting for and advocating for. And so even in the 7th grade, I was like fighting my teacher over the stuff. So yes, when you do these sort of things, it does make you a magnetizing person. Because I remember my teacher, he would look at me like I completely disagree with what this child is saying, but he would giggle at me because he was just like, I'll be damned, like this girl is going to stand up for herself. And that's just it. Like, as I said earlier, when you use your boundaries, you're not going to become less desirable. You're going to become more desirable. You think that using your boundaries is going to push people away. But as I said earlier, it's not pushing people away, it's an invitation for them to grow and evolve. And it's also by you doing that and executing on that, you are growing and evolving as well. So, I'm going to read our comments. What's up, Matt? Felix, I'm so glad you're here. Jeff from Texas. Jeff, tell me again what part of Texas you're in. Sohel, thank you for being here. Hello. Hi, Ninja Wolf. I'm really good. How are you? Hey, John. Thomas. Sweet, sweet Thomas. So glad you're here, darling. Constantine, glad that you're here. Ninja Wolf, how's your trip? Did you go mountain hiking just to scream at the top? It's so funny. I did do my hiking trip. You must not follow me on Instagram, Ninja. I posted some really cool pictures from it. I did go mountain hiking. It was a lot of fun. And I did sing The Sound of Music because that's what I feel like I have to sing every time I'm in the mountain. I'm like, the hills are alive with the sound of music. I have to sing that every time. And I hope that YouTube doesn't take this video down because of copyright or whatever. Matt says, I get so anxious trying to attract that I just act or say stupid things. Matt, I would encourage you when you get anxious to stop and breathe and ask yourself, what is it that I want to say in this moment? Because chances are you're thinking about what you think they want you to say, and you're not speaking your truth about what you want to say. I love it. Thank you, Thomas, for reiterating that. My growing boundaries will ruffle feathers. Absolutely. People are not always going to like it, but it's okay. It's an invitation for them to leave or to grow. It's up to them. Wow, Robert, good morning from a little town in southeast corner of Iowa. Very cool. Thank you for being here. Yo, Williams, thank you for being here. Ninja Wolf says, whenever it comes to battle of the sexes, I always get very competitive easily. Ninja Wolf, what did you do in the high school that was the same as me? Matsy says, all the girls used to flirt over Mr. Clary. He was a heartthrob of the school. Our Mr. Clary was not, because he was a much older man. Matt is packing his suitcases because he got my email today about my new in-person VIP coaching experience. Awesome. I love that, Thomas. He said, you still need to do things you promise. You promise that you promised. Michael Huggins, thank you for the valuable thoughts and lessons today. You are so welcome, Michael. I'm so grateful that you are here. Thank you for your presence. Daughter's dad, Yo Williams. Matt says, oh, I'm not even gonna read that. Come on, man. Oh, New Braunfels. Oh, yeah, you've said this before. I really miss the lazy river. But one time, Jeff, I almost drowned in that tube chute that's done like the horseshoe. I was in high school. I think I was in the ninth grade and I did that. And I was in the tube. And then, when it shoots you out and you go against the wall and it shoots you to the wall, where mine flipped over and it sucked me under. And I had to have my friend reach his hand in and grab me out. So I've had crazy like water stories of like things going wrong in the water. So I've been working through some water trauma while in the south of France and doing swimming in the sea. And that's actually been very helpful. Cayman Music says, sometimes I get socially awkward because I'm not sure what to say to people since some people can be sensitive. But Cayman, that's not your responsibility. And I think that that's something that our society needs a real reality check. In our very woke culture, there's also an undercurrent of entitlement of you should do something. No one should do anything. First and foremost, everything that we choose to give someone is of our choice. And so it's not your responsibility to make everyone happy with what you say. Obviously, we don't want to go around intentionally hurting people. And that's what people are missing out on is like, what's a person's intention? And you're never going to know that by accusing and yelling at them. You have to ask them, like, what's your intention? Where are you coming from with this? So it's not your responsibility how people react or respond to you. What is your responsibility, Cayman, is for you to feel comfortable in articulating the things that matter to you and saying the things that you want to say. And people will feel that uncertainty from you and they'll actually kind of push you away because they know that you're not solid in where you stand and how you feel and how you want to show up and express yourself in the world. So start owning your own boundaries of going, I'm going to say what I want to say. My intention is not to hurt people, but I got to be me and I got to say the things that I need to say. I hope that helps you. So, guys, I am so grateful to be here with you. Tomorrow, we have a new video coming out. I can't wait for you guys to watch that. And I'll be very excited to join you guys on my next live next Monday. I'm going to go off for my hike. If you want to see pictures from my hike, I think I'm going to post on my Instagram story. You can go and follow me here at the Arica Angelo on Instagram. So don't forget, get the boundaries course. Nick Jackson, hey there, I'm struggling, but I could use some help. Oh, and I'm just about to end. Nick, I have my website, aricaangelo.com. I offer coaching on there. Please check that out, aricaangelo.com. And then I will be back here to be a part of your next live video. Thank you guys for being here. I love you so much. Become desirable by what? What's the recap here? By having your boundaries, standing up for your boundaries means you have value. And when you value yourself, people find that incredibly sexy. So glad you guys were here. Sending you so much love, and I'll see you at my next live. Take care, guys. Bye.